there are few people I've ever worked with that have left more of an imprint, kind of an indelible imprint on watching him lead, watching him talk. He's an entertainer. And this is one of the reasons Arizona State's recruiting has been unbelievable. By the way, we're talking about all these quarterbacks. They got a kid named Jaden Daniels who played last year as a true freshman. Oh, folks. In about 2 years, Jaden Daniels, well, not this draft, but 2 drafts from that, as a true junior, Jaden Daniels, maybe the number 1 player picked. By the way, Herm, as a defensive guy, how did you convince an unbelievable quarterback to come to your defensive and running program? How'd you do that?
Well, this is where you have to make him understand that as any head coach, he's only as good as the quarterback he has. Hey, there's this guy that just left New England, that Captain America guy.
Yeah.
His coach is a defensive guy, too.
That's right. You once told me, Herm, you said, I remember this, we were at ESPN together, and you said, Colin, if I'd have had a healthy quarterback, I wouldn't be broadcasting sitting next to you. I'd be in the league. You had a lot of success. It's funny because here comes the draft. And I like Joe Burrow. He's a nice player, but good God, the LSU team was loaded. I like Tua, but there's the injury. But I want to talk about Justin Herbert. Yeah. You faced him twice, and you gave him fits. Boy, in Tempe, it was a mess for him. You intercepted him 4 times in 2 games. You won 1, you lost 1. But let's go back to this, Herm. You brought NFL concepts to the college game at Arizona State. What did you throw at Justin Herbert that both times confused him?
Well, I think, all quarterbacks, their ability to read your mail before pre-snap helps them. We tried to disguise coverage on him, gave him some different looks up front, forced him into some known downs too as well, Colin. When I say the known downs, put him in position where he has to throw it sometimes.
Yeah.
And what we did is, when we were fortunate enough, early in the games, we brought pressure. And that got him uncomfortable a little bit. I think the guy has a tremendous skill set. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic. I thought we saw his athleticism in the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
When he ran. People didn't know he could run that good. He can run, he can avoid, he's got a strong arm. But Colin, this, and I've said this many a time, even when I was on your shows back up in the Worldwide Leader, is that most quarterbacks are system needy. 90% of them in the league.
Yeah.
And I think wherever these guys go, whether it's Joe Burrow, whether it's Love, whether it's Justin Herbert, whether it's Tua, what are the coordinators or the quarterback coach willing to build a system around the kid's skill set? Because if they're not, they're going to fail. The prime example, say what you want, is the guy that plays for the Rams now. All of a sudden, the skill set and the development of that guy was built around what he could do well.
Yeah.
His first couple of years, everybody said, this guy's a bust. Well, all of a sudden, he comes in there and they change the offense a little bit around what this guy could do. Pretty good quarterback.
Right. Yeah, he throws Jared Goff throws, of course, a beautiful, beautiful ball. He's got a lot of Matt Ryan qualities. He throws an incredibly catchable ball, probably a better long ball than Matt Ryan has, and he's become a very, very good quarterback. So when you look at this draft, you were a defensive guy. You were a very good corner in the NFL and college. So that would lead me to believe, boy, Herm, if he was running a franchise, the Jets and the Chiefs, he would know defensive guys. But then I think you faced offensive guys. So maybe you're better at knowing offensive guys. When you were with the Chiefs and the Jets, what did you feel most comfortable drafting?
Well, Colin, I was kind of in a unique position because I came in the league as a part-time coach but a scout. So I learned how to evaluate players. And the first thing I did, I can remember going to training camp with the Chiefs my first time there. Howard Mudd was the offensive line coach, great offensive line coach.
Yeah.
And I knew enough about football, the skill positions, but really didn't know a lot about offensive line play. And so I sat at night in his meetings with the offensive line and learned how he coached them because I wanted to know, how do these guys play, right? And so I learned positions by my ability to sit in the room and listen to the coaches coach them. So then when they went on the field, I said, this is what he's teaching this guy, right? And figure that kind of stuff out. So for me, when I look at the draft, and I was a position coach, then became a head coach, I had a pretty good idea of the positions. I always sat in the quarterback's room. You got to sit in the quarterback's room. I mean, that's important. When the season starts, you're in the quarterback's room. I mean, you're kind of listening to the quarterback, and you're kind of talking to him from a defensive side of it. Hey, no different than what I do, Jaden. I said, Jaden, when they do this, when they give you this look, this is what's about to happen, right? And so, because you and the quarterback are connected together, well, if I'm a defensive guy and I can sit in the quarterback's room early in the week after I've looked at the tape, with the coordinator as well, and give him some information from a defensive coach's eye on what the problem is and what he does to present a problem to the defense as well.
Herm Edwards is joining us. So you look at Tua, and it's easy to say, well, he got hurt in college, he'll get hurt in the pros like Sam Bradford. But I would say this. Patrick Mahomes had a wrist surgery in college, ACL joint issue, got knocked out of a game. He's been hurt in the NFL. Carson Wentz, hurt in college, hurt in the NFL. If a guy's got talent, Drew Brees, Dolphins passed on him. Saints didn't. He had injuries. I think Tua is draftable, and I like him. Would you be concerned making him your franchise quarterback if you were Miami or the Chargers?
It's the eye of the beholder, and you make some great points there. Some players come in that have an injury record, and some guys they get concerned about injuries. I think the type of injury, a lot of times it has something to do with it. But with today in modern medicine and the way these physicians can do things, I mean, it's like, okay, he's a young guy. The arrows are pointing up. He's still young. And all those things go into factor. And let me tell you something. If you don't have a quarterback, if you don't have one, let me tell you something. You're going, hey, we ain't got a guy. And I said, and if this guy's coming in with a little injury, he's better than the guys we got right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Arizona State. You land Jaden Daniels, and it's changed your program. I mean, the bottom line is when I watch you play, you've always been good defensively, but the ability now to win 9 or 10 games is going to be because you found the right quarterback who's a remarkably poised player for 19 years old. The kid is it's just incredible how good he is. I think he is the next. I honestly believe this. Next year, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence at Clemson and Justin Fields, Ohio State. I think the following year, your quarterback's going to be the number one pick potentially. Do you think he has that talent?
Well, he has talent. There's no doubt it, and he's a hard worker. I think with Zach Hill now, offense, I think it's going to fit a lot of things he can do well. That Boise State offense is something. Yeah. I like it. They run the ball. They give you a lot of different formations, personnel groups. That's all NFL stuff. And that's what guys want, make you go under center some. I mean, all those things occur, but it's just not only on the quarterback, because those guys are only good as the guys that protect them. And you got to have a good offensive line if you're going to if you're going to win at any level. And that's something we're continuing to trying to build around here. But if we can protect him, this kid's got a chance to be really good. There's no doubt.
So when you look at players in the draft, like I can look at a Joe Burrow, but he played with so many great players.
Talented, yeah.
And so go back to your Chiefs and Jets days, Herm, when you were drafting. Now, Rich McKay, you and I both know Rich McKay, former Tampa Bay. And Rich used to always tell me when I covered him in Tampa, and he built that Super Bowl team down in Tampa. He said, listen, I like guys who came from big programs that were on national TV games with 98,000 in a stadium, and they were great in big games because that's the NFL. It's pressure. When you were with the Jets, I think LSU guys usually make it in the NFL. They've played in so many big games. Yep. Does it worry you a little, though, that Burrow played with 9 NFL guys? I mean, he didn't pop until his senior year with all those guys. Does that concern you?
Yeah, I think that can concern some guys, but I look at the position this way. First of all, is he a leader? Yeah, that checks the box. He's a leader. In big moments, on the road, when he has to throw the ball and everybody knows it, is he accurate? Does he move the team? I learned this from Joe Montana. I played against Joe in the league, and then Joe came to Kansas City there with Marcus Allen, those guys. We made our run that year. He gets knocked out against the Bills in a championship game. So I'm sitting, going to practice with Joe, and we're just talking. And the conversation comes up. He said, what kind of team is this? And I said, Joe, we got a pretty good football team. We did. Kansas City's a good football team. He said, good quarterbacks win 4 games for you. I looked at him. I said, what? He said, they win 4 games a year. I said, what are you talking about? He says, well, in the fourth quarter, and when you're on the road, and, you're down, they find a way to bring the team back to score, and you win. And I looked at him, and I went, and, I never thought of it that way, but that's what they do. In the moments when you got to make the play, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the cast you have around you, does he make the play? Can he do it? And to me, that's the sign of a good quarterback. If you look at these NFL quarterbacks, let me ask you something now, Colin. If you got Aaron Rodgers, if you're on the road, and he's got 1 possession left, you probably feel pretty good about him having an opportunity to go down there and win the game, right?
Yeah, him and Russell Wilson, and yeah.
We know who they are. They do it. And at the end of the season, in 16 games, it's going to be a tight game where you need to score. They do it. That's what separates them. That's what separates the great ones.
Yeah, it's so funny in this league. The average game is decided by 4 points. I mean, it's crazy. And so, I mean, I can go back to Super Bowls. I mean, Brady and Russell Wilson are in a game. It's one play that decides it. Go back to Brady in the Super Bowl against Atlanta, Edelman's catch. Play. I mean, it is remarkable. The difference between being an NFL head coach and having to end up being an NFL commentator
is a quarterback.
And you had Chad Pennington, but he got hurt. Now, finally, you have worked at the NFL level, and you've worked as a commentator and a motivational speaker, and you work at the college level. With all this information at the college level, we know that when Pete Carroll went college to pro, Herm, he had 3 great drafts because he knew all the players. Mike Mayock of the Raiders. He watched all these players in college, goes to the Raiders, he has a great draft. Herm, I could argue, after this year, 2 years, you could go back to the NFL and you would know this college footprint and all these players because you recruited them. Is there a possibility you'd go back to pro football?
No. This is it. This is my last stand right here. I'm going to build a program, and hopefully we can win the Pac-12 and hopefully win a Rose Bowl and then hand it over to somebody else. That's my goal.
Are you having fun?
Colin, I'm having a blast. I miss my players at this point in time, and the fact that with the virus. And look, as we're talking, I can't say enough about all the first responders, all the medical folks all over the country, all the people that are putting their lives in harm's way, trying to save those that have caught the virus, and it's remarkable to see when you turn the television on and watch all these doctors and just people that just continue to go into buildings knowing, you know what, I could come out with the virus. Those are the heroes, Colin.
Yeah.
Those are truly the heroes.
So I love that you're having a good time. So you even like the recruiting?
Oh, yeah. Look, come on. That's when it really gets fun, right? When you're talking to the young people. I like meeting the parents and the guardians of a lot of these young men because you find out a lot about the family.
Yeah.
And a lot of those homes are like my home. I look at them and I go, hey, I get it. I know where they're coming from. I get it. I understand this.
Herm, did you have a lot growing up or not much?
Not much. I mean, football was my way out.
Yeah.
I knew being an athlete was going to give me an opportunity to go to college. I was the first graduate out of our family. I mean, my mom was a German war bride. My father joined the Army when he was 17 years old. He fought in World War II and the Korean War.
Yeah. Football got you out. You went to Cal, didn't you? Where'd you go?
Went to Cal.
Oh, my God.
Right out of high school.
All those hippies and Herm Edwards?
Oh, my God. Can you imagine that going there in 1972? I went up there and went, what is this place?
That place.
I said, boy, oh, boy.
Yeah. It was, boy, that was the height of it. It was nothing but marijuana and hippies.
Yeah, I grew up in a great era. You're talking about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
I tell the story. I told you this story, at 13 years old, that Monterey Pop Festival they had down there in Monterey every year.
Yeah.
And look, my babysitter took me to that thing and wasn't supposed to be going, and I saw Jimi Hendrix burn the guitar. I became a Jimi Hendrix fan after that day. I said, that 1968. And I'm like, who is this guy? It's Jimi Hendrix. So I actually watched Jimmy burn the guitar on stage.
Wow. That's great.
I'm not claiming the fame, Colin. A lot of things that happened to me in my life, but I actually saw Jimmy. I said, I seen Jimmy live.
God. You've had a full life, my friend.
I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed. A lot of people helped me along the way. I'm gonna tell you something. You're a good friend, and you know this, and you helped me. I mean, when I went to work for the Worldwide Leader, watching how you worked and how organized you were and disciplined and how you gathered your thoughts. I mean, I watched all that. I'm a guy always searching for knowledge. And you watch people in certain professions, and you gain knowledge from them. And you guys helped me a lot. And I love coming on your show in the morning, getting you all fired up, man. That was a lot of fun, too,
Well, Herm, you know where my daughter goes to school down at
Yes,
ASU.
sir.
And I'm so proud, but it's just been an amazing story and continued success. And I love having you on occasionally, and go Devils.
Thank you, brother. God bless you, man. Stay safe, partner.
All right, Herm Edwards. 13 years.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.